Welcome back, everyone, to Under the Plate. We're back today with episode 41 of this Final Fantasy VII Focus series. Today, we're diving into a very fun topic, and that is outfits and the potential of seeing more in Part 3. As you may know, Final Fantasy VII absolutely has a history with outfits even in the original game, starting with the Honeybee Inn, and we saw more added in Rebirth that were exclusive to that game, and I feel like it's just time to talk about this before anything official gets revealed, you know?
Yeah, in the original FF7, we got to really see them change things up from time to time. And as the compilation really expanded, that's how we got legendary outfits like the Advent Children ones. Which, we've talked a bit about the possibility of Advent Children being remade as part of this entire project as a possible Part 4 DLC. But what we're really wanting to dig into is why these outfits are just an awesome inclusion. And I think just seeing because, all characters have a character design. You see this, you get familiar with it, you get jokes about people never washing their clothes or having closets full of the same outfit. You know the drill with games and anime and all that. So that's always what everyone's eyes and thoughts are drawn to, is that first initial outfit. But I think it's really fun to have these other outfits. And FF7 does stuff like that with the Honeybee Inn, and then, Advent Children. And Rebirth is really cool because it expanded that a little bit with some of the Costa del Sol, swimsuits.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on just what we have gotten in the compilation and Rebirth?
I mean, I've loved it. I feel that the Advent Children outfits at this point are iconic. I remember when Rebirth came to PC earlier this year, which it does not feel like this year. I remember that there was this, it felt like an endless waiting period for the Advent Children mod. It's like, where is Advent Children Cloud? Where is he? And then finally that mod released with Advent Children Tifa and all the other characters. And everyone was just waiting for that mod since the day that the game came out, which I think really stands as a testament to how popular and well received it is as a whole. And yeah, I mean, I think Advent Children was great. I'm a really big fan of course, what they did with the remake trilogy thus far. I think it's really fun to see the characters take on different outfits, just because if you think about the remake trilogy in particular, if there were no new outfits at all, we would see these same party members look the exact same across 120 hours of content. And I adore the original outfits so much. They're all incredibly designed. Thank you, Tetsuya Nomura. But at the same time, it's nice to get a breath of fresh air. And especially Rebirth did such a great job with that. We had obviously Baylor in the sailor outfit, and then Aerith, Tifa, Red 13, and Cloud in the infantry uniforms, which was just super comical and just very whimsical. It was a great moment. Then we obviously had Costa del Sol, the swimsuit scenes. I mean, probably the most trending scene of the entire game on social media was just the Costa del Sol stuff. That was really enjoyable.
And what was sick about that is that there was 2 swimsuits for Aerith and 2 for Tifa.
Yeah.
So you get quite a bit there.
Yeah, no, that was a really nice touch from the development team. And honestly, I'm kind of just guessing that, because those were designed by Roberto Ferrari. I'm guessing that Ferrari just designed so many swimsuits and they were like, yeah, sure, we'll do 2. Why not?
Oh yeah, he also did all the dresses in Remake. And I
Yep.
guess Remake has a good track record for the outfit segment
totally
too.
forgot about the dresses. Yeah,
because
that's
he made
definitely real.
3 for each, so 9 dresses, and they're all completely different in design, each one of them. It's just sick. Ferrari is so good at that stuff.
Yeah, he does a great job of embodying. He's very original, but he does a great job embodying what Tetsuya Nomura's original designs evoke. And he was just an excellent decision to bring into the remake project. He's been spectacular. So I've been a big fan of what he's been able to do, and I'm really curious. Turning the page to Part 3, I feel like that there's more prime opportunity than ever to add more outfits. And personally, when I look back at Rebirth and I think about the platinum grind and grinding rulers of the outer world and trying to cheese it, trying to figure out a way to beat those in a fun way that wasn't just, wanting to bash your controller into your couch. Having those different outfits to mess around with and seeing Baylor in a sailor uniform fighting a summon was always just very funny. And I really do hope that the development team goes in here and kind of adds more outfits for our characters, just because I think it's really fun to do. I think it's a fun thing as fans to kind of see these characters dressed up in different ways. And and that's just speaking with as part 3 as a whole, not even anything story. I think that there's so many outfits that they could throw in here. I mean, think about how many JRPGs have come out where characters are just wearing whatever, that doesn't have any tie to the story. I'm not saying we got to go like, okay, everyone's going to wear this or everyone's going to wear that. But I do think that you can really get creative and add some fun, unique outfits that match and are resembling of the character, right? Like not some super far out thing, but something that kind of goes in line with that character that we could see them wearing, but it's a fun nod for fans to discover after they beat the main story.
Yeah, I really think in general, just having costumes fill out like being a possible reward for a lot of the side content, especially, could make part 3 feel really good. Because think about it, especially if we get like less side quests, especially since there's going to be so much main story in part 3. Tell me it wouldn't feel better to have a quest line give you something as substantial of a reward as like a costume. I think that would
Yeah.
feel great. And because there's like not instances in Rebirth of side quests necessarily netting you costumes, because you do have to do that side stuff to get like the tickets in Costa del Sol, but that's still, like a main story event type thing. Are Yuffie getting the festive wear from the Golden Saucer? Like that's just a one-time random thing. And I was just kind of sitting here thinking, we said like track record wise, the remake games have been doing good with like the extra outfit moments. But is there really a moment like that we are gonna have in part 3? Because a lot of that just dies down in original FF7 during, the portion where Rebirth takes place. Because I'm really struggling to think of a moment during the plot line that is gonna happen in part 3 where they swap outfits up.
Oh, I'm not. I've I've been envisioning one area to have new outfits for, I think, ever since Remake came out, and that is Icicle Inn. I think that the party members, we need winter outfits. I think it would be so sick, especially with like snowboarding on the mountains. Like you cannot tell me that, like, look at what Tifa's wearing, look at what Barret's wearing, look at what even, any of the characters are wearing. They are not wearing that in mountains of snow. There's no way. There's no way. And also think about the temperature mini game. I just don't see it. I don't see it. You got to get winter outfits. We've got to bring them in. I am so hopeful that it's going to happen because I just cannot wait to see what the developers come up with. But maybe I'm just crazy, but I've had this envisionment for winter outfits and like ski gear for so long.
Honestly, I think they should go with it. There's a part of me that thinks that they might not. And like they could even fit in the temperature mini game. I feel it could be like, oh man, we just got here and it's freezing. You gotta, do the squats, to keep your body heat up. But then like you get to like any of the civilization that is there, and like, okay, we can get like actual winter gear or something.
Yeah. No, I just really think like, I don't know, man. I'm kind of crazy. I've definitely just perfectly put together what I think every party member should wear in that sequence. So I think it might break my brain if I don't see anything happen there. I just feel that we must have winter outfits. I'm gonna feel so bad for every party member if they have to walk through the snow with like shorts or like, no covering, no long sleeves. I'm I'm gonna feel really bad. Hamaguchi did not care, apparently.
Yeah, Cloud's just, I mean, he's got a turtleneck at least, but he's got his bare arm, like, oh, geez, just about everyone in the party has, like, bare arms
That's what I'm
to some
saying. That's what I'm
degree.
saying. Like I can't see it. They're gonna have to do it. And I think it would be so cool is you're like climbing to Icicle Inn, or if you're going to Icicle Inn, or as you're leaving or snowboarding or whatever, to really make that something. And I do think, we definitely in the future, leading up to part 3, we're gonna have a lot of focus on the different locations and what we want to see from them. But with Icicle Inn in particular, and just the overall kind of vibe with the wintry side of things, I definitely see Square really expanding that. And I think if they kind of make that more of like a ski lodge, right? Like, I mean, because Icicle Inn is very similar to that, but more of like a resort. I just can't see how we're not going to get some pretty sick outfits for people.
And honestly, like, here I am threatening Dissidia Duellum. I almost want to see some casual clothes on these folks. Like,
Yeah.
just for real, like, let me see Barret in, like, a normal button-up shirt and some jeans or something. Like, just as, like, extra stuff. Because I feel like Part 3 could really have the sauce with extra outfits. Because I was also thinking, an extra outfit thing that I wish they let you actually run around in, like, excluding mods, of course, because if we're, like, we wouldn't even be sitting here having this huge, like, costume debate if we were just gonna sit here and talk about mods all day. Because people are just throwing in whatever. We want, like, this designed, curated content from these developers. But how come I couldn't just run around in, like, the Loveless outfits and stuff in Rebirth after the fact?
That was a crazy omission. I totally agree. I still am surprised that they didn't add those.
Because I could maybe almost understand it for Barret. Maybe there's some, because now and then in like the cutscenes, since they're practically all real time, like for example in Remake when you first meet Reno, and Cloud does that strike and it hits the ground and he runs up Cloud's sword. Like, depending on the sword, you can tell it was animated with, like, the Buster Sword in mind, so you can see, like, Reno's foot step on, like, an invisible space. Like, depending on, like, if you have, like, the hard edge where, like, the blade bends different or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, there could be some reasonings behind that for especially Barret's costume. But, I don't know, maybe some of the cape stuff, because there was the reasons why the Keyblade armor didn't have capes in, like, Birth by Sleep. But I don't know, I figured that would be like a solved thing over at Square these days, but I'm probably just that's just conjecture. But I just do think it is insane that we didn't get those outfits to, like, run around in.
Yeah, no, I agree. I definitely think that there could have been some stipulations that prevented it. If I'm being honest, I do think that it might have just been an oversight thing. Square developing that sequence might have just not thought about it, but I definitely agree. Mainly just with, if they were really trying to implement those outfits, thinking about how that might work in combat, particularly with Tifa and Yuffie, who are just very quick attack, run up, punch, or Yuffie's flying across the arena. Like, I don't know. Tifa could absolutely do it. I believe in her, but I do think that it would look kind of funny if Tifa's wearing this really elegant long dress and just speeding around the arena and hitting just super uppercut punches to people. But I don't know.
Like, honestly, like, if that's an issue, they should just have, like, battle variant or whatever that you can actually run around in.
Something.
Because I can see, like, Aerith is designed and animated with her wearing a dress in mind at all times. Tifa, though, she just has a skirt. So I can already imagine, like, I haven't, like, watched any mod videos or anything of, like, extra outfits, but I can imagine there's got to be some serious, like, dress clipping, like, for any outfit like that.
Yeah,
and that stuff takes a lot of work.
It does. she and Yuffie, I feel like they would have had a really hard time trying to put together, you know, accurate clothes physics with a dress, just because that's just not what their characters normally wear. So I definitely agree. They could do some sort of battle variant, and maybe we will see those return in part 3, just because there was very popular mods for them, and I feel like I saw, people love the Loveless outfits. So I definitely could potentially see that returning. I want to shift back to part 3 though, because I know you said you couldn't think of anything. Snow and Icicle Inn was my first one. I have 3 different scenarios that I think we can get outfits for, and maybe you agree with me, maybe you don't. Snow is the one.
I think there's a lot of prime room for expansion.
Snow is the one that I 100% believe we will get. But if I could say, okay, let's look past that, what else would I like? I think we should get outfits that are unique for the whole Wutai section. Because as we know, Wutai has a very unique, obviously, theme compared to the rest of the world, and Midgar especially. So I think it would be really cool if the whole party got Wutai-esque outfits. I think that would be very fun.
Bro, that'd be awesome. Especially if they ramp up, because they've been adding a lot more to the Wutai War drama, and really solidifying a much greater presence for Wutai in the background of the politics and such.
Yeah.
Plus just look at how often, especially in Ever Crisis, they just push the Bushido Cloud outfit with him in the samurai garb.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the summon draw alternate animations. It's normally Cloud fighting an Iron Giant, but now and then it's just him with that garb. So I think that would be excellent. Could you imagine a Tifa and almost a Glimmer's outfit almost from Xenoblade 3? Something like that would be crazy.
No, it would be really cool, and I just think that they could do such great things. You could really honestly go
put
full
that sumo
kimono
undergarment on the Fat Moogle for Kate Sith.
Yeah, you could go full. I really think you could go full kimono, because when you look at Wutai in particular, a lot of the village itself is actually it looks very similar to Itsukushima, which is Miyajima in Japan. And I actually went there this year, and it's kind of crazy, especially Itsukushima Shrine. It just looks very similar in terms of the architecture. So I think it would be so cool if they really delved into that and gave all the characters unique outfits. Because again, obviously Wutai is going to be a major section of this game, and they held it back on part 3, or they held back for part 3 on purpose. And developers have commented on this multiple times. It's something that is going to be much bigger in scale, we believe, because if you had to hold it back for part 3 to really expand the narrative and make it something that's not obviously optional to visit, it's going to be way more substantial to the main narrative.
And I mean, just looking at the other regions, I'm glad that they made that call to save on some dev resources and give it that significance. And we're really hoping that significance has costumes, because I'm just sitting here
I've got you thinking now.
Because one of the biggest, because I feel like that's a big draw of something like the Tales of series, because they quite often have things like titles and other things that give you extra outfits. And Tales of Arise had sadly a paid set of Japanese outfits. Well, Wutai, but that's really what the coolest thing about Rebirth's extra outfit stuff was, is that it hasn't cost money. And I think if part 3 really hammers that home and has cool stuff, really we just need snow outfits. I feel like those are the ones that make the most sense. And the Wutai ones I think are just too good to pass up. Although sitting here talking about more part 3 possibilities has me thinking, man, Aerith isn't going to get any of these extra outfits.
Yeah, it pains me, man. It definitely pains me.
They need to figure out a way to where we can... Okay, so, we had that playable Sephiroth section for, the very start of Rebirth. We had some of the Zack stuff. So we should have like small segments with like these other characters, but still be able to give them other outfits.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I'm really interested, obviously, in I think Wutai has the chance to be the best outfits that they add in the game. But there's one more section that I do think we could see outfits for that would be really cool. And that's something like spacesuits for a certain sequence.
Okay, that's actually genius. Because in my mind, I was mostly just rolling off of things that outright happened. Because, it makes sense in Remake for them to do the dresses for Don Corneo, because that's what happened in the original. And the same goes with, like, the sailor outfit, the Shinra infantryman outfits, and other stuff in Rebirth.
Right.
But then we've been seeing that expansion, which I think is where your brain really started firing towards. Because, like, my first, like, thought was, well, they don't really have any specific outfit scenes. They might add some. But I was just kind of figuring for part 3 they might end up doing it more, like, side content-wise. But now that we've really started digging our teeth into this, I see that I really do think they just need to cherry pick these kind of moments and build around.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I have another.
Oh, gosh.
This is my last one I have, just of stuff that I've thought about over the past couple months. The other one that I really want them to add is the underwater sequence with the, obviously, going underwater in the submarine and stuff. I can totally see them having some sort of like diving gear or something like that. And that would be really cool as a kind of, swimsuit, but not swimsuit for this game too.
And actually being able to use it when fighting something like Emerald Weapon.
Exactly. And Cloud's gonna probably have like 100 zippers and belts, and it's gonna be sick.
Ooh. So far, an idea I have is, could we possibly get, outside of Advent Children stuff, could we possibly get some type of epilogue outfits?
That would be really cool. That would be really, really cool. I'm not sure. I think a lot of that depends on what shakes out with the end of the game, and if we do potentially get more of the remake project after the end of part 3 in the form of DLC or something like that. But I think it would be really cool after you roll credits to get some sort of nod. I mean, look, let's be honest. The best thing they could do is be like, hey, Advent Children outfits, here you go. It's a tease for the DLC or something, That would be so cool.
Yeah, and really, I just want these to be like just inspired choices for costumes and like inspired new costumes. Because I think the worst possible outcome for this would be just them recycling stuff from Ever Crisis. Would it work? Yeah, I think they could make that work. But I just think it would leave a bad taste in my mouth. And that's not like dissing Ever Crisis outfits, but those are for that game, and I wouldn't want them like to recycle them.
Let's go. They're gonna put Tifa's lightning outfit in.
Yo.
Totally makes no sense.
Or the 2B one. Look, that one's fresh, hot off the press.
Nah, the 2B one is amazing. I'm so glad that... I'm honestly surprised that the Nier collab took so long, but beyond the point, I would really be surprised if we get any Ever Crisis outfits. I do think that, especially for Wutai, there is some inspiration there, but I do think that we'll get original outfits for part 3 for that section.
I'm leaning towards that myself. And I was also just thinking, like, we were just talking about, like, the 2B outfit and other stuff. Do you think there's any potential for, like, crossover outfit stuff with part 3? Like, I could see it maybe within the series or, like, Square itself. But you gotta think, things like 13-2 and 15 got, like, a Mass Effect crossover and an Assassin's Creed one.
I really don't think so. I do think that they're gonna stick with everything inside Final Fantasy VII, just because I feel like if we did get crossover stuff, we would have gotten that already, and we haven't. And I think that they're gonna stick with FF7 and generally focus on expanding in the areas that we did not have original outfits in the original game, that could have made sense to put the characters in a different piece of clothing.
Yeah, I just feel them rolling logically with that stuff is what they're going to do. And just thank goodness we're out of that era of gaming, because I feel like that's the other thing. Because I can't think of like a time in recent memory Square's done something like, here's like a bunch of paid costume DLC for something that's not like, you know, FF14 or some other live service thing they tried.
Right. Well, and with 14, it makes sense, right? That's like you said, a live service game. It's a game that's ongoing. It's got every Final Fantasy represented in one way or the other. So I have a bit more understanding with them pulling in another Final Fantasy or just another game entirely from Square or outside of it. But with Part 3, I think we'll keep it inside the FF7 universe, and as we should, honestly. I really don't want to see any outside collaborations. I don't think it's necessary.
And yeah, I feel like especially with how hard they've been like really trying to cater to some of the PC porting and all of that, they might just feel like their bases are covered with mods in a sense. Because I don't know how many... well, I'm not going to try to confuse myself for other players, but usually I'm not, especially when playing through like the main story of a game, I usually don't use alternate outfits that much.
Yeah, no, it's interesting, right? Like, I feel like that's something that's different for everyone. Some people really prefer to be able to switch outfits on the fly. I think of games like Trails in the first that just came out earlier this year. There were a ton of different outfits for those characters. A lot of really fun ones. My philosophy on these games, and you know, some people disagree with me, that's totally fine. Usually I always try to play games with the original outfits, and once I beat them with the main story, then I'll go in and I'll change outfits afterwards. But for the main narrative, I try to keep myself focused and engaged with whatever the original outfits are. I know that that's not necessarily always the most popular. I've got a friend who drills me on that sometimes, but that's just how I play, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I like absorbing almost like the creator's intent on how the story and these characters are supposed to be represented. Not to say like an extra costume isn't accurate to a character or whatever, but I don't know how I would feel like, you know, having Cloud's nipples out when having like this the segment at the end of Rebirth with like the black materia. I just don't know if that is this in their vision? Is this what they intended to make me feel during this scene?
I don't know. That's
I mean, it's also the Xenoblade problem.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm so happy they brought fashion gear to like Xenoblade 1.
No, for real. Well, and I think that's honestly the type of thing that, for me, it's always the games where you can change it and they have real-time cutscenes, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm wearing this outfit, it's showing up in the cutscene, and I'm trying to play the main story. Whereas, yeah, with like Xenoblade, okay, I can switch out this outfit, but in cutscenes, or even, Part 3 and the Remake Trilogy, they don't have armor, custom armor that changes your stats or anything. But like, with what you mentioned, Xenoblade, there's a really nice thing of being able to equip a certain armor and then display another one on your character, which is really nice. So yeah, I think overall there's a lot of potential for outfits in Part 3. I'm really excited, honestly, to kind of see what happens, where it goes. But yeah, I mean, I personally, this is a game where Square Enix is only really going to be adding stuff. You know, we're not going to see Square remove stuff and remove locations and peel stuff away. It's going to be a game about adding things to this world and giving it a send-off. And I just think the outfits are a good way to do that, man.
For real. And the last thing I'll have to say is, please have a different outfit menu. That little changing room just felt so slow.
Let us do it in the menu, because yeah, I was not a fan of that. And the whole animation of waiting for the character model to load, it was like, really, I have to like do so many button presses. I totally agree. Honestly, I didn't forget about that, but I didn't really think about that as of late. But yeah, I was not a fan of that menu.
Yeah, and you know, I get it aesthetically of changing into the swimsuit at the beach, yada yada. that's fine. Like, have that be an alternate way to do it, but let me go into the menu and do it instantly if I want.
Yeah.
There's
totally
nothing wrong
agree.
with having multiple solutions.
Definitely.
But yeah, like, dude, I really do hope they do things like when they expand Wutai and other sections, that they have the costumes. I
Absolutely.
feel, even if they have to, like, piecemeal it a bit, because, Yuffie is the only one that got, that festive golden corral, jeez, gold saucer outfit. She's the only one that got, like, that festive one. So maybe, Yuffie's already pretty ninja-esque. Maybe when they go to Wutai, Tifa gets, like, the outfit, Barret, Cloud, possibly even Sid and Vincent. It depends.
And Red 13 too.
I feel like Red 13, he might get skipped out on an outfit here and there. I just feel
We'll
like
see.
they might not pour as much effort into poor Red. Maybe give him, he has the feathers, give him like a couple different things in each area.
Yeah. He only got that extra one in Rebirth, so I definitely agree. He's not going to get a ton, but I do think he'll get a couple.
But yeah, I feel like worst case they might end up splitting up who gets certain outfits. But I just think it's a must-have inclusion. I would actually not like disappointed enough to deduct points or anything in like a review of a potential part 3 that we're theoretically speaking of right now. I wouldn't dock points, but I would be severely disappointed if they just like gutted that little extra outfit stuff.
Yeah.
Because while not every Final Fantasy has, the identity of having like a job system or gear you can swap out like a Final Fantasy 11 or 14, it's just a fun thing to do in this series, especially when they've already done it in these remake games.
Yeah, I agree. I'd definitely be disappointed. I'm in agreement with you. I think it's a must-add, and it's a fun little nod for players to mess around with and just, see some of our favorite characters and new looks and new outfits, and it's always a fun time. So, with that being said, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Under the Plate. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button to help support the channel and help us keep this series going. And be sure to let us know down in the comments what you think about outfits for part 3. Are there any in particular you're hoping for? Or are you just good rocking the original fits? But again, thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next episode of Under the Plate.